Let's talk about financial freedom. What does that phrase even mean? It's more than just a pile of cash, right? It's really about having control. Control over your time, your decisions, your own future. Today, we're diving into the blueprint of a nation that was, believe it or not, engineered from day one to make that kind of freedom possible for everyday people.
And we have to start here, because this is the reality for most of the world. For billions of people, the system itself, whether it's unstable governments, currencies that lose value overnight, or just a total lack of opportunity, makes real financial independence pretty much a fantasy. The game feels rigged before you even get to play.
So what made the difference? How did one nation completely flip the scripts? Well, that's what we're going to unpack. It's a fascinating story that's part philosophy, part economics, and a whole lot of culture. We're going to look at how the United States built an entire environment where building wealth wasn't just for the kings and the nobles, but for anyone willing to try.
It all kicked off with an idea that, for its time, was completely revolutionary. Think about it. In the 18th century, nations were built to serve a king, an emperor, an empire. But America was designed at its core for the citizen. The whole point was that the wealth of the nation should be the wealth of its people.
And if you boil that entire revolutionary idea down to one word, it's this: ownership. That's the starting block for all of it. The right to actually own a piece of land, to own an idea, to own a business, and, most importantly, to keep what you earn from your hard work. In a world where that was not a given, this was a total game changer for personal economic power. And this wasn't just some philosophical pipe dream. Guys like Alexander Hamilton got to work, fast. He saw a future that was about more than just farming. He helped lay the groundwork for a real market economy. He championed things we just take for granted now, like patents to protect your invention, solid property rights to secure your assets, and business laws that were for everybody, not just the well-connected.
But you know, a blueprint is just a drawing. It's a great plan, but it's just paper. To make it real, you've got to build the engine. So the next phase was all about turning that philosophy into actual tangible systems that regular folks could use to build, grow, and protect their money. Okay, now this is so cool. This cycle you're looking at, this is basically the engine of the middle class getting built step by step. Industrialization wasn't just about smokestacks. Factories created jobs, those jobs provided wages, and for the first time in history, on a mass scale, those wages could turn into savings. And then, here's the magic step. Those savings could be put to work through investing. That cycle, right there, built a nation.
So what's the point of all this? What's the end game of these jobs and savings and investments? It's this. It's the ability to live your life by choice, not by necessity. It's the difference between doing what you have to do to survive and doing what you want to do because you can. It's turning I have to into I get to.
And you can literally see this idea of choice being opened up to more and more people over time. Look at this timeline. Each one of these was a game changer. 1792, the stock market opens up, letting anyone own a sliver of a company. 1933, FDIC insurance comes along, so people could trust banks again with their savings. The GI Bill in the 40s, massive. It unlocked homeownership and education for millions. And then the 401k in 78, suddenly retirement saving was in your hands, not just your employer's. Each step brought more people to the table.
All right, but the laws and the financial systems, that's just one piece of the puzzle. To really get the American blueprint, you have to look at something you can't really touch, but it's maybe the most powerful part of all, the culture. It's this invisible asset that fuels the entire machine.
And this, right here, is a huge deal. Think about it. In many places, if you start a business and it fails, you're done. It's seen as a huge source of shame. But in America, there's this incredible idea that failure is a stepping stone. It's a lesson. It's seen as tuition you pay for your experience. It's even baked into the bankruptcy laws, which are designed to let people get a second chance. It's the freedom to try and fail and try again.
So when you have a culture that says, hey, it's okay to fail, guess what happens? People take bigger risks. They innovate like crazy. And when you protect those innovators, they build things that totally transform society. Think about Silicon Valley. The source material calls companies like Apple and Google financial freedom machines. And why? Because they didn't just make cool gadgets. They created unbelievable amounts of wealth through jobs, stock options, and IPOs that let millions of people invest in the future. Okay, so let's put it all together. We've got the core philosophy of ownership, we've got the financial systems, and we've got this unique culture of risk-taking. What does that all mean for you and me right now, today? What does it actually look like?
Well, it really boils down to having choices. The whole system is designed to allow and protect you having multiple ways of making money. You're not just limited to a salary. You can earn dividends from stocks you own, get rental income from a property, start a side business. This ability to diversify how you earn is the ultimate form of financial control.
And that right there, that gets to the real heart of what wealth truly is. You know, it's not about the number in your bank account. It's about how much control you have over your own time. It's about autonomy, the freedom to wake up and decide how you're going to spend your day. That's the real prize.
Now, look, is this system perfect? Of course not. Not even close. We've got huge challenges like the wealth gap and all sorts of other issues. But the core argument here is that despite all the flaws, that fundamental structure for opportunity is still in place. A school teacher can build a retirement portfolio. A truck driver can own a piece of the stock market. A coder can launch a global company from their garage. The pathways are still there.
And this kind of reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? The dream was never a guarantee that everyone would become a millionaire. The dream was the guarantee that everyone would have the ability to try. The freedom to get in the game, to take your shot, even if you don't know the outcome. That possibility, that's the dream.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. The blueprint we've just walked through, it provides the tools, it provides the systems, it provides the culture. So in a place where the whole point is that everyone gets a seat at the table, what are you going to build?